Hey everyone. Hopefully volume levels are okay. So, yet again, another live on. So continue to automate this Harry Mac Bars app. Just doing a bit of automation on scraping YouTube for transcripts and writing them to. Well, I was writing them to basically local file system, but now writing them to Firebase, Firestore, and sending them to Elasticsearch, and then querying on so on and so forth. So, where am I today? This used to all be a manual task, so I've been automating over a couple of live streams, which I've done. So I have done in the past. What was step number 1? It's all here. Calling out to the YouTube. So this is basically this is a request, a Firestore or Firebase request, and this is how I'm testing my my query. So I just run this on local Firestore, and I hit this endpoint, which is just Firebase creates an endpoint for you, and it's just going to execute this function. So this is the public API, I guess. Everything else is private. So this was live stream number 1, or kind of setup and getting new videos. Live stream number 2 was getting all the transcripts, which worked for the most part. There still is some issues at times, and that's because I guess that's because there's kind of browsers a bit not quite predictable with loading states, etc. Network fetches, you need to wait for certain things, and then so yeah, but it's a bit brittle, but it works. So now we've got these two up and running. So that what we'll hopefully do today is the final step, which is basically this gets the videos, any new videos I haven't already scraped. This gets all the new transcripts, and then basically store them on Firestore, or store them to the database, so we know not to pull them in the future, whether they succeed or fail, and then actually send them to Elasticsearch. Once these two are done, hopefully we can do that. I've got just under about an hour again. If we can do that, then that's the whole process finished. And I can have a look at the best way to, off stream, I'll figure out the actual best way to deploy this. So originally I was going to keep it as a, well, I guess this kind of request, but the problem with this, of course, if I'm scraping lots of videos, it might take quite long, depending on timeouts, etc. So that might not be a good idea. So I don't know how maybe the scheduled, there's kind of a scheduler that you can do, a scheduled trigger that might be better, or it just might be a node process that I run locally anyways. So I still run it manually, but it's just all automated to start off with. But yeah, we'll see. So today we are going to start with, let's bring up Firestore, and I guess we're going to be starting from an empty Firestore. Yeah, so the problem with the Firestore, of course, every time you start it locally, it's gonna be empty. So we'll start off with that. We'll import some of the data. We'll run these to make sure these still work, and then we'll move on to actually storing and sending to Elasticsearch. If I can get that done today, that's pretty much this process finished, and that'll be a good place to stop. So cool. Sound is okay. So let's start with Firebase emulator. So I'm running Firebase locally, and I'm gonna run Elasticsearch locally later on as well, and I'm gonna run that on Docker. So hopefully my laptop can handle it, and then I'll do all the actual stuff offline or off stream, because I need to find the right keys and the secrets and all that stuff, which I haven't touched in a while. So I'll figure those out. So here's Firestore. Let's open up, that's functions emulator. So yeah, you can see the 3 functions I have here. Scrape videos is the one I'm going to be looking at now, but before I run that, what I'm going to do, actually we can make this smaller, is so let's make this a bit bigger. So we'll clear this guy. I have my function here. Let's just make sure this function works. So comment all this out. Dot send. Let's just send hello world. Just to make sure this is all running. I just cleared out the. Do I have that? I do not. I think it logs out the URL. Okay, I just made a change actually. But I cleared the logs. So I can't remember that there's a certain pattern to the URL which I always forget. So this guy here, let's click that. Hello world. Okay, perfect. That's fine. Refresh this guy. We're fine here. Okay, so let me just. The first thing I want to do is actually. So this is all based on the assumption that the data is already here, which of course it is not. So I'm going to migrate over some data. All the data is actually in my local directory. So what I've done is I've got this script and script no transcript files, which I've copied over to my function. So these are just JSON objects. So they're just arrays. So these are all the IDs of the videos I have scraped, and they have scraped successfully. So in this processed directory, all these IDs will have a JSON file, and this is basically all the transcripts. You can see the full data there. And then of course I have this script no transcript, which is my way of saying we tried to scrape this, but it failed. So come back to it later, however. So I want to add these to the to Firestore, so that way when I fetch all the new videos, it basically checks and it skips over these ones. So what we can do is, I've done something like this before. So what we can do is script. If I look for script, I can just find, yes, something like this. So scraped and scrape failed and script no transcript. So I'm reading both files, reading them as JSON, and then I have the Firestore batch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop over all the script ones and all the script failed. And for the script, so what I'm going to do is I'm using the status. So this is going to be scraped. And actually this is going to be scraped and indexed. So this is going to be my statuses, or the way I'm thinking of this is I'm going to have, if it fails anywhere, it's going to be an error. And the first stage is going to be scraped. Then I say to the database that it's been scraped. So the status is scraped. And once it's indexed, I'll save indexed. So if there's an error and there's no transcripts, that means it failed at scraping. If there's an error and there's no, and it's not an Elasticsearch, i.e. there is data, then it means it failed indexing. So it could fail, because it's a pipeline, I guess it could fail in multiple places. So we'll figure that out. So these are indexed and these are error, or yeah, fail, or whatever it is. So that should be fine. And I can just run this await migrate up here. And I think that should be all I need to do. So this will just auto reload, and I will hit this endpoint. Endpoint comes into this request and then just hits migrate and hopefully saves to the database. Cool. Their name is not. Of course. So this is a slight catch, which is, so their name is available in NodeJS with CommonJS. But at some point in past streams, we updated this to be ES modules. I actually copied this over, so I was playing around with this earlier on. So with ES modules, what you need to do, so NodeJS ES module, their name. So you'll see that, yeah, basically their name is not available. So they've got this meta import.meta.url. That's the one. So if I clear this and I console log import.meta, you'll see this. I think I can just access it, the URL. So that's import meta URL. So this is basically kind of the ES module syntax, or it comes from the fact that we're using ES modules. And then we have from in the URL dependency, this just built into Node. You can turn this into a path, hopefully. So that should be, that's a local directory path, basically gets rid of this file. And then from the path module, we could do dir name, which basically gets us, so what we're trying to do here, all this just to say, give me the directory that we're in just now. And then once we've got a directory, what we can actually do here is just do const underscore underscore dir name is equal to path name. So if you're used to using dir name in Node.js and you're using ES modules, you can basically replace it with these two lines, or I guess these few lines, and that should be the same. So let's clear this. Let's run back over to here and refresh this guy. Hello world, good. So now if I run over to Firestore, there we go. Let's make this a bit bigger. Cool. So Firestore now has a bunch of indexes, a bunch of IDs which are indexed, and they should have some IDs which are error. Here we go, error. Okay, perfect. So that's what we have. So the idea here is that if it's been indexed, it will actually have another collection called transcripts, and I will add all the transcripts there. That way I've got them all stored in Firestore, and then yeah, we can send them. So, but I'll do that. That's just a migration task. I'll do that maybe at the end if you have time, or offline. So what I'm gonna do now is actually try to save a transcript. So let's do new videos, which is now only going to get the latest, the videos I haven't scraped, basically. So, so if I console log new videos here, actually let me just return new videos. Cool. So we have, this is the last time since the last time I've run this manually. It's got 41 videos out, so I've got 41 to catch up on. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to make sure I've got this, and I don't want to do all these because that'll definitely fail right now. I'm sure it will take too long. So I'm just going to take the first one, which is I guess this guy here, and I'm going to see if this scrapes the transcripts. So let's paste the transcripts there. Yeah, let's run this and see what happens. Clear that, refresh this guy. This is the bit that's a bit hit and miss. So this basically may or may not work. Okay, that one worked. Okay, cool. So this video, great. So one item, 327 lyrics. If I click into this, that should take me to the video. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Okay. I guess he doesn't say anything up until then, but cool. Let's see if, just making sure these actually align. 20. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Cool. So that's getting the transcripts back fine. So what we want to do is, transcripts fine. I want to try save these into the database. So this huge object, I want to save it into the database. So if we jump to store in DB, we have transcripts, and this is what it looks like on the right hand side. Basically a bunch of these. I guess most of the time if I'm running this every day, there might be one, maybe 2 or 3 max, I guess, depending on how often I run this. So what we're going to do is something similar to this. We want to take each entry, object.entries. So we want to take all the entries, which is going to return a key value pair. The key values being the ID and the transcripts. Transcript. Oh yeah, this is awkward. I've called this transcript. Let's do this transcript list. Or video transcript. Actually, it's just the transcript, isn't it? A transcript is a list of somethings. So the transcript. So we want to do is await Firestore collection. Remove this guy. We want to first create the document. And I guess at this point, if we say, I guess in the new videos, at the end of this, we could say, here we could create the, let me think about this. Yeah. So here, when we scrape the video here, we're scraping each one. What I actually want to do is I want to try scrape it. And it may fail. This one usually does fail. And if it fails, actually, I don't really need the. If it fails, I want to. Yeah, maybe let's just try this first. Yeah, we'll come back to the. Because this needs to work. So if it fails or if it succeeds, I want to store the collection videos, video ID. And then at this point, I want to set this to scraped. And if it fails, I want to set it to error. And it's going to do that for each one. So let's do the whole batch thing. Let's copy this, and we shall start batch each video, and then commit. So we're trying to scrape. If the scrape fails, it's going to jump into this catch block, and it's going to just save it as an error. If it succeeds, then we'll have a document for that. So let me just try. Let me make sure this doesn't exist here. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to rerun this. So this should succeed, but again, sometimes, like I said, it's breakable. Sometimes it fails, but regardless, we should get an entry in Firestore. So I just want to double check that. That wasn't too bad. 12 seconds, okay. So that now is there, and that should say scraped, so that's fine. So now let me remove that again. Delete document. Just because I want it to be scraped again. All right, so that's that. And then if we jump back to the store in DB, now this exists. We don't need to set the index, but what we're going to do is we want to jump into a new collection called transcript. So this is the transcript. And the transcript basically has a new document for each, I guess each one of these, each line or each bit of text. So a new document. Now the question is here, do I do anything special with the IDs? I could use is there anything unique here? I could do the time in seconds. No, I'll leave it as is. So I'll just do just automatically, well, it will auto generate an ID, and I will set transcript. Actually, what I need to do is for value of transcript. I think this is what I need to do. Collection ID set value. Let's call this line. Oh, this is actually a bar. No, let's call it line. For each line of the transcript, set line. So for each transcript, we're going to go through all the values. I think that's fine, and that's just basically going to set each of these objects. Yeah, let's keep it at that, and then commit. Okay, so let's comment this out, and we will still return object.keys. We'll return the transcripts basically that got saved, or well, not necessarily actually. You know what I'm going to do instead? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to remove this, because yeah, I don't want to mix concerns. I want the scraping to just purely scrape. And this is what I had. I think I wanted to do this last time, but I basically didn't get, well, I didn't finish. So here it's just going to, if it fails, I am going to keep the transcript, but I'm just going to set it to an empty. It's just going to be an empty, an empty array. That's fine. And then I think that's fine. And then what I can do is storing in the database. If transcript if it's empty, then set it as error. No, so what I want to do is actually, this is what I want to do. So at this point, in that case, I'm going to be creating it regardless. So I want to set this status is going to be transcript error or script. That's fine. And I think I can actually extract this out. So video ref is equal to, and I can take this all the way down to here. Video ref, and I can use this video ref here as well. That's a bit better. So we get the reference to the video, and then we're going to, I guess here we're creating the, here we're creating the document, and that's just going to have we're setting a field on the document here to say status, and then here what we're doing is we're actually adding a collection to it, and then we're going to add each line and commit it. Okay, so let's try that. So I think I changed a few things there, so hopefully it's not broken. So this should all stay the same. I can remove this. In fact, that's not actually that doesn't do anything right there, so that's fine. This will return that way. This will return the transcripts whether they failed or not. But it's only one this time, so that's fine. So let's refresh this and see how this goes. Cool. All right. So that succeeded. 14 seconds. I can find that here. So that's this guy. Scroll up. So that's been scraped. And then it's got the transcript, which I jump into. It has a bunch of values. If I go into one of these values, that is, yeah, that's everything we need. Perfect. Cool. Cool. So now, what I want to do, I guess, is I want to do that, and then I want to send it to Elasticsearch. Okay, so Elasticsearch, I need to start Docker now. I really hope that it doesn't kill my laptop. So I'm gonna get. Well, you know what I'm gonna wing it a bit. I'm gonna do all the code, and then I will test with Docker. Yeah. Usually I test incrementally, but I'm gonna try avoid bringing in Docker as much as possible. So I have. So let's see. I have a script for sending to. Elasticsearch index, so this guy here, which this function here, upload, is basically the main thing. We don't need to look into it too much. It basically uses the client, which is Elasticsearch client. You can see that here. Point this locally. It indexes, transforms it into the format, and then it chunks it up because it's too much to send over one HTTP request. Slash too much, I think, for Elasticsearch to accept. So it's basically some manual chunking there, and then it sends each one. And most of this just looks, it looks quite clunky just because I'm trying to log out all the errors basically, and there's a few console logs there. But the logic here is actually quite simple, and the uploading is just, I think it's just this bit here where the body is a slice. Okay, so this function, I think I'm just going to pick it up as is and bring it over. So let's bring that there. I don't think that needs anything from anywhere else. Let's just make sure. I think that's fine. And then in terms of what else it was doing, index here, it was, yeah, basically it was doing all the logic of reading the local files and figuring out the new links, which we don't need to do anymore. And it was then flattening the transcripts. I guess we do need to do this, reading the files and flattening. So yeah, so the only thing we actually need to do here is, so at this point the structure is, it's an object with keys as IDs, and then the values are going to be the list of transcripts. This takes in, basically, this doesn't care about the IDs at the top level, and that's because, well, it doesn't actually care about them because, I mean, it exists in here within the link. It doesn't actually need the ID. I wonder if we should add the ID there. Well, we can derive the ID from the link if we ever need it. I don't think right now we do. So basically all this needs to do is await upload transcripts object.values. So we want to get the actual, the transcript is the object of key value, where the value is actual transcript. The values is each is an array, so we just want to flatten that. I think that's right. So that's all I want to do there. And to be honest, I think that's it. So in theory, let me just jump back up here. That should be it. We store it in the database. The only thing I want to do is, after I sent to Elasticsearch. So after I uploaded each of these, I guess the only thing we would want to do here is we might want to update everything to indexed. Yeah, we might want to update the values to indexed just so we know that they have been indexed. And this one's a weird one because if this fails, yeah, I don't know about this one because this could fail. We're sending all the transcripts, we're not uploading them. Yeah, I need to change this actually. If this fails anywhere. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I'll leave that for now then. If I was iterating over the transcripts and then uploading each one, then I would be able to tell which one failed. Now I'm flattening everything and sending it all at once, so I can't tell which one specifically failed, which really defeats the purpose of having indexed. Yeah, that's pain. Which one am I on here? So yeah, let's keep it at this. You think about this. Will this? I think this upload, to be honest, I think it will wait. It will work. You know what? To be honest, I think this will work for each one, anyways. I don't need to flatten that. I think what I can do is, yeah, I think the API works for both ways. So what I think I can do is for I guess I'll do this again. Transcript of, actually all I need to do is for transcript of transcripts, I'll wait upload transcript, and I guess I tried to do this, and if it fails, yeah, a lot of batching going on here. No, that's fine, bit hacky, but that's okay. So upload, if the upload succeeds, we set it to, so that's the, so I do need the ID actually. So I'll do that and I'll go to the entries here. So if the ID succeeds, if the upload succeeds, sorry, we want to set status to indexed. Otherwise, we want to set it to error again, like that. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so upload takes in a data set. The data set is, we're going to flat map that, which is fine. So yeah, okay, I think that might work. Worst comes to worst, if this doesn't work, then I'll just remove, yeah, we don't need to have the specific errors and we can change that another time. But for now, I'm going to try run that. So I'm going to start Docker now. And hopefully my machine's able to handle that, and we'll run Elasticsearch. So I have a, let's move that off the side here. I have a Docker compose YAML, which I use, yeah, this one here. So I can just hopefully run that. Okay, just waiting for Docker to start. There we go. Okay, so I think I can just run, this is just going to run Elasticsearch, and then it's also going to run Kibana, so I can easily visualize the data. We have a volume here, which is just get mounted onto Elasticsearch. Nothing too fancy going on here, it's mostly from their docs. So I should be able to just hit that. There we go. I like the new, so yeah, the macOS's Docker admin panel thing. Used to be terrible. It's actually quite good now. You can pretty much do most things you can do elsewhere. I used to either use the IntelliJ one, or which you can kind of go in and see all the running containers, and you can, you know, jump into all the files, exec into, etc. So that way you don't need to remember all the commands. I used to always do a command line, then I moved on to IntelliJ, but actually now, and I still use IntelliJ mostly, but now Docker's own one kind of gives you most things. CLI, you can even see the volumes in here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I think that's that started. So I should be able to go to localhost 5601. Serving already. Okay, we'll give that a minute or so. There we go. I think that's ready. So the only thing I need to do, I think I need to do it manually because I haven't added it to the code, is I need to create an index. And in fact, I don't actually need to do that. This will run, but if I want to, on Kibana, if I want to view the data, I actually need to create this index. So stack management is basically, so Kibana is a visualization tool, obviously, for part of the Elasticsearch. Usually you go into Discover, and this, you can see all your data here. But in order to see the data, you need to tell it, you know, what indexes to follow. So this is, you know, you can still have all the data in there, and you can query it, etc. But if you want to visualize it, you need to start adding data. So what I can do, for example, is, or the patterns. So I can go to, actually what I'll do is I'll try run this first and just see if it works. And then we can, if that works, we can then head over to Kibana and try view the data. So let's try refresh this. So we're fetching, hopefully, new transactions, new videos, sorry. We're then scraping the video. I'm slicing it, so we just do one at a time, just for while we're testing. Storing it in Firestore. It's going to return ID, so you can double check that. And then it's sending it to Elasticsearch. There you go, uploading 0 to 1000, that's the chunks. I've got a few consoles, that's all. So apparently that all succeeded. And just a note on the, when we're actually sending it, we've got this client here. Upload. So it's all through the client. There's basically an Elasticsearch SDK. And this client, you just start it with a new client and you pass it in. So in functions, you get the config. And this is how you basically, it's kind of how you add secrets. So locally, this will resolve to, I guess this will resolve to localhost, basically this string here, this object, localhost 9200 with node. On the server, I've pushed another object, which is the credentials of my actual Elasticsearch instance with the keys or whatever it is that it needs. So anyways, we've got this key, jump into Firestore, let's make sure it's been added. So we jump into here. So we click into that. That has been indexed, which is what we want. So hopefully that changed from nothing to scraped to indexed. I have this transcript collection, which has all the collections, which is good. So these are all the lines. Title there is empty, which I don't think it should be. That is not right. Come back to that. Okay. Let's actually check this one. There definitely should be a title. And there definitely is a title. And I assume, I think I remember this title should be an H1. Yeah, should be there. That's fine. Or that might not be fine actually. I wonder if that would break the app. I think I might need a title. Let me see. Yes. Title.keyword. Yeah, we definitely use the title, so I'll definitely want to see what the issue is there. That is interesting. Well, let's come back to that in a moment. Let's just see if it sent it to Elasticsearch at all. So if I come back into Kibana and refresh this, you have data in Elasticsearch exactly. So it's asking you to create an index pattern, and I can start typing out, and it will find, hey, you have this index pattern matches the one of the indexes you have, which is bars star. I'm just going to do bars, and that bars index was, or the data was created in my upload function. So when I upload it, the first thing I do is, I guess, I create the index. And so I can create this index pattern, which is part of Kibana. Let's dismiss this guy. And what that lets me do is I can now go to Analytics Discover. I can also create dashboards, etc. And I should be able to basically see, here's all the indexes I have. So this is bars index, and yeah, this is basically all the data. So you can see I have 359 hits, which is basically each line. Same data. Again, the issue here is there's no title. Why is there no title? That's an issue. Cool. So let's run that again and see if it happens again. So this will be a different ID. So I wonder if it's just that specific video or if it's just happening every time. And while that's running, I'm gonna head over to Scrape. Yeah, I mean, this is just looking for this guy right here. So literally, if I head over to that video, and I do that exact query, it should find it. Or in this case, it should fail, and then we'll figure out why. Well, this is going to continue to be blocked. Anyways. Text content. Is it the same? Yeah, I don't like that. So the issue, I guess, is, well, let's see how this went. That one took almost a minute. But is it anywhere here? For some reason, I need to go back, that's why. So it is here. That also got indexed, but there's no data. That's weird. Okay, so something's not working here. I guess, oh no, it makes sense actually. If it gets to the did anything get indexed? Surely not. 359. No. So I guess the problem there is, okay, so there's a couple of issues here. Firstly, if we store the data in the, Okay, yeah. Okay, so if we store in a DB, send to Elasticsearch. Problem here is if we still have all the the problem here is we still have all the elements, the transcripts that are empty, because I'm basically storing them in a database here. So maybe I should do that here. Maybe that's fine. I'll revert back to what I was going to do before, so that this basically returns all the transcripts of let's see. Well, we can keep it like that actually. Store DB, send to Elastic. We could basically do this. Oh no, we can't. That won't work. Let me think about this. Okay, change of plan. We're gonna do in here. We are not going to do this anymore. We are going to do this here and here. So this is going to be scraped. This is going to be error. So this returns the actual scrape transcripts, ignores everything else. Video ref. Let's do that. Then that way, when we actually do the scrape transcripts, it only returns the ones that are valid, which means we only store. That means we don't need to do this here anymore. We can inline this, basically. There you go. That's mixing a bit of concerns, but I'm not too worried about all these. So that's fine. So now, yeah, that's fine. So if I delete this guy, delete document. I'm surprised I didn't see an error here. Actually, I'm not surprised because I'm catching it. I should still log the errors. So if I do catch, here, for example, let's just let's at least log their what's this? Failed to scrape transcript, and let's do this so we know which transcript we failed to scrape, and then we'll do the exact same thing here. So failed to index transcript. There we go. So let's go back to videos. Let's go here, refresh this again. And now we're back to checking why or if the title is going to be added or not. So everything works ish. But I want to basically check if the title is coming through at all or not. See here, when we did this, we do get a title. It does have a bunch of white space, and that's I guess because okay, so that failed this time. Which is fine. Assuming that's the same order, let me move on to the next one and try that. That 30 seconds is way too long a timeout. I'm thinking about changing that, but we'll try another time. So at least actually that returned. Ooh, that returned nothing. Which I guess is fine. It returns nothing because, yeah, the transcripts here, it's obviously not going to be returned, so I could just do what I will do is let's just do this here. So that way at least we can see the IDs that we're dealing with. Let's clear this guy, run that again, and come back to here. So this here, for some reason, is bringing us back. Query selector. This guy, which has it's adding all the kind of the space around it, I guess. I'm sure there is a nice query for, let's see, text content, inner text. I thought inner text would actually just so you could do first child's that function. First element child dot inner text. Could do that, but I don't know if I want to. Could I do inner text here? Is there a split function? No, not split, sorry. Trim. Oh, that works, yeah. Okay, let's do that. I wasn't sure if it would get rid of the spaces there. Title, inner text, dot, trim. Is that fine? Should I just trim all of them? I think this one probably needs trimmed as well. And that's because if I jump over here and jump into open transcripts, I know that if I open this up, I'm going here, and then I'm going into the second child inner text. Pretty sure I'm doing something like this. And child 2, which gives me back this guy. So let's copy selector here. Document dot query selector. Bring back this dot inner text. Yeah, so actually that's fine. It doesn't really need trim. Okay. We'll remove it from there. We'll jump back into this. Let's see the ID we've gotten. It looks like it succeeded. So we can see that here. Jump back up. So that has been indexed. Jump into the transcript. We jump into here. This one for some reason brings in the title this time. So I'll be interested to see why that is. So for example, if I take this guy. So let's go up to H1 inner trim. So this inner text here brings back these, basically this bunch of white space and new lines. Here, let's try to do the exact same thing. Oh, it's because I've added trim here. Okay, that's fine. All right, I think that works basically. So if you jump over to this Elastic, 359 last time, so we add 700 onto that, should be 1059 hits. Or is that 700 to the double, so should it be half of that? 59 hits. So 700 minus 359 should be 341. Count 700. Why is that? Ah, because it's okay. I'm not quite sure how that adds up, but 700 count here. Each when you're sending to Elasticsearch, you actually send 2 lines for every 1 line, because you need to send, and that's what the flat map thing does here. You need to send the. It's a weird JSON format where you send the a line with the index, so saying, hey, this is the bar's index, and then a line of the data. So it's 2. Okay, that's fine. So I think that means this is done. So we hit that URL. So I'll still change the schedule, or I might look into that at some point. Maybe I'll do that in another stream and actually kind of deploy it and make sure it runs properly. Might also do that offline, but it now, we saw that ID here. It came into, so it found all the new IDs. We sliced it, that's fine. Came into here. Yeah, added this, which is basically indexed. So script, well, it scraped it first, made it scraped, added the transcripts, and then it, I guess, sent it to Elasticsearch. That's fine, yeah. I think that's everything. That's what I wanted to cover here today. And that pretty much, now all I need to do is actually do the migration, but just set this up all, instead of locally, just point this all to my actual instances of Firestore and Elasticsearch, do the migration, which is just a quick manual script test, and then run this endpoint. But of course, this endpoint right now I'm slicing it because I think I've got like 40 odd videos, and I don't think it'll definitely time out if it takes that long. But yeah, I think I'm gonna pop that in here. And here is just going to do status 204 dot send. No, actually, what I will do is I will keep those new video IDs for now. But I guess the main thing here is Firebase functions triggers is to change this basically to the time thing and figure that out. Functions, yeah, run functions on a schedule. Here we go. So pub sub schedule every day, wherever it is. Related automatically. That's fine. Yeah. That will try run this. Okay, cool. So I'll probably run the first, well, I'll catch up a bit manually, and then once it's caught up, I'll try run this and see how that works. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Cheerio.